talking about the
Yeah. We talk,
the people,
yeah.
what is wrong with us?
Yeah. So basically, we welcome you again one more time to Keep the Fire Burning channel. And this is our brother Richard Edwin here today. And we're going to talk about we have an endemic problem in this place. It is a situation where it is almost like there are hindrances and blockage that is deliberately set to prevent people from advancing in this society. Too many times, you want to do a project, you want to do something, and sometimes even the agencies and the institutions that they establish to help people, it seemed to me that there are some of those that are actually blocking the progress of people in the country. And even at the local level, there is a lot of that is going on. And sometimes we do not see the progress that we want to see in the country, in the community, because for the most part we are busy fighting against and among our own selves. Now contrast that to a situation where you'll get people from foreign countries coming here. You might get people from Syria or some other group coming here, but they unite and they support each other and they grow as a result. But as it relates to us here, sometimes you will go to a government entity for some help. The place was created to develop you as a human resource. But the mentality of the people that work there sometimes is who that guy think he is, or Kimon Monsieur. And a lot of times, if they cannot recognize you by name, they do not know you by name, some of them will not help you. It happens in this country. So we're going to deal with those topics because it is not pleasant. It is affecting the growth of people. And so I'm going to allow my host to introduce himself today.
Okay, Richard Edwin is my name, and like I said, I am just a community person. I have been around, and I tend to take interest in a number of things that are happening around me, and particularly the way we relate to each other, the way we talk to each other, the culture that we will be equipped with through our history. And this is very important. I think this has a lot to do with the way that we behave. What are we left with? What do we have to work with in terms of our attitude, the way we relate to each other? I think these things are very, very important. And they speak a great deal to the relations that we set among ourselves and the way that we treat each other. We can conclude to a large extent that we literally hate each other. Now, by hating each other, we hate ourselves. By extension, we hate each other, and sometimes you wonder that whether we are afraid of success or we don't want to be successful, and for that reason, we want to keep our neighbors at a certain stage so that we can justify ourselves, the attitude we have towards ourselves. So if this one is unsuccessful, so I don't have to fight hard to be successful because here I am better than my neighbor. I'm doing better than my neighbor, so I don't aspire for anything beyond beyond that is significant enough so that I can make a difference in my own community. We take more time. All right, let me just say this. We take more time to compete with each other at this local level. That little person has a little shop there. That one person has a car or whatever. Then we tend to even get jealous of this. I hate to use that term. To prevent that person from moving forward, prevent that person from we go to all kinds of things. And at the same time, what happens? When we deny ourselves of that ability to own these things and to develop ourselves, somebody from overseas come in, and not somebody black, somebody like the Chinese and so on, while we fight against each other for a little space to sell two breadfruit or whatever, what happens is that the Chinese come in, they buy the whole thing. And before long, what they do is that they push you on aside and you are nowhere to sell anything. So we are constantly fighting against us. And the weaker we get, we strengthen the other parties. We do it on a daily basis. We do it all the time, and not realizing, or perhaps not realizing, or we hate ourselves to the extent that we cannot see beyond
Yeah. So one of the things that I've observed in the country, it is almost like in your community, it is, and generally in the country, it look like people have a limit. There is a mark. There's a meter that you cannot see. There's a measuring tape that they have, and it is almost like certain people in the community. There's a mark that you're not supposed to go beyond that mark. And even if you start to go beyond that mark, all hell will break loose.
that.
Now, we have something in St. Lucia where we say, in terms of the ease of doing business, St. Lucia is one of those that they say it is the best in the Caribbean or something. It's somewhere at the top. But when you look at it, um, there, there is more to it than just having something on paper. Um, it is okay for some, for many people like me. It is okay for them to imagine or to accept that M&C or Chasney or wherever, Menville and Chasney, can have businesses in Castries, Vieux-Fort, and Soufrière. It is okay, perfectly fine for them. It is fine for them to see those things. It is okay to see a man come from Syria or India and have a business in the best part of St. Lucia. That is fine. But in my community, if I decide to have a business, the people that I know, some of them will just not support you. They will not come because they will. The mentality is, "It's pas moi qui fait me say wish."
That's
They are
right,
not
yeah.
the ones who are going to get you rich, and so they will not support you. At the government level, in terms of the ministry, the government workers, there are so many times I have gone through these places to get information, and uh, let me see. Yeah, Marky. No, I in a live there. I in a live talk there. I cannot talk there now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So many times you go to the ministry and to the different places, and the mentality and the way they will treat you is like, especially if you come in with something ambitious, is who that guy think he is. And the thing is, you can analyze them, and that is how they think. Who that guy think he is. Some of them will not help you. Some of them will just have you come in. They will just give you some story and just waste your time. The mentality is who that guy think he is. This product, the AgroBuds, is a liquid fertilizer that I developed, and I've been to different certain places with that. And you can see that the people are just paying you lip service. It is almost like they doubting you, they questioning you, they have doubts about you and all of those things. And when another person come from another country, they will easily accept them and just fly the gate and let them come in as if they are pirates. But you that's from the country, at the highest level, at the lowest level, there is always something to help to stop you from growing. This is one of the reasons why. Just look at Bridge Street and even those streets in Castries, these places in Castries. A lot of these, not Bridge Street, these other places, Brazil Street and these other places. A lot of these places and these businesses are not owned by local people. When a local people owns a business in St. Lucia, especially if you have it in Castries, the thing is they will make it look like you're selling drugs. They do not know you from nowhere. That man must be selling drugs. That man must be doing this. That man must be doing that. But if you can come from any other place, but it is okay. But it appears to me like there is something in the minds of the people, even among the people who claim to be educated, who are working in the government buildings, working in these positions. These people still have a slave mentality. It is almost like they do not want you to grow. They do not want you to advance. They questioning you. They questioning whether or not you belong there. In their minds, it is like, who is it? Who do you think you are? You're not supposed to be advancing that much. And to me, there is no way that we can go further as a people with that kind of mentality. This is principally the reason why the hotel industry, the tourism industry, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Yet very few of us directly benefit from it in terms of getting the direct cash from it, because we are more inclined to fighting each other. Some other person can come from wherever it is and open a hotel. It's okay. But if it is that we do it, it's a problem. But the thing is, we need to think whether or not we can advance as a country with this kind of mentality. But where do we start? How do we undo this problem that has been plaguing us for years? What do you think that we can do to change the mentality of the people so that they can allow people that are capable of going forward to go forward?
Well, we have to see ourselves differently. We really have to see ourselves differently. We have to understand where we came from. We have a culture of hatred for ourselves, and this is what it boiled down to. And this attitude towards ourselves were inherited. They were forced onto us, you know, through slavery. Some people don't understand that slavery, the slave mentality or the slave culture that was imposed on us, that we went through, we still suffer from that legacy. But we do, you know. And so we have a certain mindset, that are destructive to ourselves, and we never take time to say, okay, the powers that be wouldn't allow us to do that. We have not found a way to take time to at least deprogram ourselves, because you know why we cannot do that? Because we don't teach history in our school. We don't teach African history. We don't teach even our own history in, like local history in our school. We don't like, what we have. Take for example, St. Lucia has two Nobel peace, what do you call it? Two Nobel
Nobel
Prize.
laureate, Nobel laureates.
Nobel laureate, yes,
Mm.
Nobel laureates. We have two Nobel laureates in St. Lucia. I can tell you that I do that almost every day. Go to Castries and look at. Well, we don't have bookstores in Castries itself, in the basin, Castries Basin. But the place that you can get their work
And that's a problem.
would be at the library. When you go to the library,
Mm.
what you see about these people? Very few. It's when I in a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, I went there and I complained. I said, "How we don't have any of these, these people? We don't have Sir Arthur Lewis, we don't have
Mm.
Walcott and so on. Where are their books and so on?"
Mm.
But since the jazz came back, I think there was the jazz came back.
Mm.
They have some, they have some writing on them and so on. But everywhere when I was in Canada, you meet people on the street, and some people that I met, and they know more about Walcott than I knew.
Mhm,
They know a
mhm,
lot more.
mhm.
They know a lot more about. In fact, I knew a little bit about Sir Arthur Lewis. But they know a lot about them than I know. You
Mhm.
know, and I'm saying, why is when I come to St. Lucia and you're looking around. First of all, you don't have bookstores.
Mhm.
The second thing is that you go to the library to get the work, and then you can't get the work. You know
Mm.
what I mean? So these things are taken away from us. So we don't appreciate ourselves.
Mm.
We don't appreciate ourselves. If you had a culture of appreciating, the writing of Arthur Lewis, the writing of Walcott, the kind of work that are being done and there are quite a lot of people publish in St. Lucia,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
we don't know, there are
Mhm.
lots of people that actually publish,
Mm.
poetry and a lot of, St.
Mhm.
Lucians.
Mhm.
I was told that St. Lucia by people, abroad, who are telling me that St. Lucia is a place where of writers,
Mhm. Mhm.
and quite a number of people have published in St.
Mhm.
Lucia, but you don't know about it.
Mhm.
So we don't appreciate ourselves. So we always see, our value is measured by the person who comes in and teach us how to eat ice cream.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's not something that we have among ourselves. And this is where it is. And the reason for that, we do not teach history in our school. Everywhere I go, I try to
Mhm.
I mention that, because it is so critical that we teach history, African history in our school. So we have a sense of self,
Mm.
we have a sense of appreciation for ourselves, we have a sense of what we have contributed as Black people to civilization.
Now that's a very good point. The part about the contribution of Black people to civilization.
Mhm.
If St. Lucians or the people that we meet understand the contribution of black people to civilization. When I come to you and I say,
Right,
this is
exactly.
my product, you will not look at me strange and think in your
That's
mind,
right.
who the hell that guy think he is.
Right, right.
It is so important. There is a when I was in America, I was in school. I make sure I had some little cousins that were going to secondary school. There's a book. The name of the book is Black Inventors.
Right, right, right.
It gives a list of black inventors and what I bought one for each and every one of them and I sent it down for them. They were in secondary school because I thought it was necessary as black boys growing up that these fellas understand the contribution of black people to their civilization. They have to know that it was a black man that invented the telephone, traffic lights, the circulation of blood around the body.
Right.
It was a black man who really came up with that, or really understood that and told people about those things. There's another guy, the medical instrument, the fella, his name is Gayton or something like that. He was an old, I mean, in the time of Egypt.
Yeah.
This guy was a black person. The fellow who invented the stick shift, the gears, helicopter, elevator, escalator, the refrigerators. A lot of the things that we use in society were invented by black people. And these are things that are kept away from the people.
Right.
If we grew up in St. Louis, and I knew that when I became a man, I did not know this thing when I was growing up in school.
Right.
Now, if our children know these things, and even the ordinary people on the streets know that.
Right, right. You're capable of.
Yeah. When I come to the government people and I say, this is my product, you will not look at me and try to the way you deal with me. I know in your mind you're saying Kimon Misekwaye. But if you knew about the inventions of black people, you would have known
it's no big deal.
Yeah, that would be nothing for you because we know that this is the track record of black people. Black people invent things.
Right, right.
Black people are the major inventors on the face of the earth, and people do not know that.
Yeah, and we have contributed quite a great deal to civilization. I mean, many of the things that you see around were invented by black people, and they were the ones who actually initiated and founded all those things that we take for granted today. But then we as black people especially outside of Africa, well, in certain countries in Africa, they don't even know it either. We don't know these things, and then we just we feel that we have not done anything, contributed anything to civilization. We were told so. We have not contributed anything. In fact, there's one of the prominent university professors. What is it? Hetherington? I kind of forgot his name. But then he said that black people have no civilization.
That's a white man said that.
That's a white man said that, and he's one of the prominent people. I think he taught at Harvard, somewhere there. And and we believe that because these were close to us. But now that we are finding out that it wasn't so, we have to make an effort to spread the message. And this message is not being spread. And unfortunately, it has not reached our people in the society, even those who are supposed to know, who have been to school, who have been schooled in school, they don't know these things. And so they look at you, you're coming from, okay, we were an enslaved people, and they look at you with scorn, do you were taught to treat, the plantation, the plantation slave at a certain level. You were taught to teach the house slave at a different level, and so you were taught to teach the niggers in a different way. So you're compartmentalized.
They don't that word on YouTube.
Oh, you don't. Okay, all right. Okay. So you were taught to treat the other level at a different level. So that's the dilemma right now. That's what we are wrestling with right now, and until we need an effort on the part of our institutions, especially our schools, to look at how we can introduce, in our daily lives, the African culture, the African, way of thinking, the African things that we knew that worked so well, that gave so much stability to the world. We have to go, we have to see how we can work with them. Because if we do that, what will happen is that we will see this, the we will see that the kind of violence that they're talking about in St. Lucia. You can stop that in a day. You can literally stop it in a day if you people just understand, hey man, what the brain that you have functioning now is not yours. So you have to reclaim your brain, and then you have to work accordingly. This is
Man, I go around sometimes there. Like certain times I go by the Castries market on a Saturday and sell my product. Now I have to tell people that I'm selling that for a company for them to buy it. I've noticed that when I tell people I make that product, it is almost like their face change. Now, if I were a white guy who come there and try to push this product, people would not be asking any questions. I have to tell the people that I am selling that for a company for them to buy it. There was one time I was doing wholesale too. It was my wholesale, and I was passing around selling goods. And I had to tell the people that when there was a complaint or anything, I had to tell them that I will tell the boss. Because if I told these people that was my business, they would not support me. I know how those people think. This thing, I have to tell them is a company I'm working for. And if I make a mistake and tell the people that this thing here, I make it, I have to qualify that weakness by telling them that I am a soil scientist. I actually went to America, to university, to learn how to make those things. That I learned those things in university and I can do that. If I do not do that, there is no way they will listen to me. You understand? But if another man will come just because he's of a different race, and he will not even be able to speak English, but they will just have total confidence in what he has to say. People in this country, they mark you. They put you on a scale. It's like you belong here, and that's where they want you to be. It's like you have to be making noise for people to listen to you in this country. You realize you go to a government building or someplace, to go to the bank or any place, and nobody, say like you're in a situation where you find that you're not being served. You quiet, nobody's going to say nothing. Then a man comes behind you and start to say, tell mama, they be like, boy, you will see people starting to run and say, sir, how may I help you? Sir, how may I help you? But you there quiet, trying to get the service, they do not give it to you. It is almost like St. Lucians, or I don't know if it's something that it is endemic to black people. St. Lucians do not take you seriously if you do not curse or make noise when you go to a government office, or if it is that you just come there ordinary looking for service from them and you have something that look like it is very promising, they will say in their mind, a lot of them, that's what it is. MNC can have his business, Castries Youth and Soufrière. It is okay. But if you have one little thing in a community, everybody you will see the people coming out of the woodworks to try to attack you.
Yeah, because this is what this is what we have been taught in a way, and and you don't make. I don't want to make excuses for anybody, because we have reached a point in our culture where we should be able to change that. We should be able to look things differently, but we have not been. I mean, no effort has been made to reverse that this kind of attitude. But we have seen how it is damaging to our own development and our progress. We have not been able to progress. We are stuck in a mindset where we feel that the only way I can validate myself is to when there is somebody who tend to be less than I am. So this is it's this depressing.
It's like they want you want to break a light for yours to shine.
That is
break somebody's light so that yours can shine.
This is the thing, and that's the kind of mentality that dominates our thinking. And you find it in St. Lucia. It's very I can tell you, it is very we see it. It's quite revealing in St. Lucia. But it's among quite a number of us blacks, around, in many different places, especially those who have not been exposed to anything in terms of their background, ancestries, and so on. Those who refuse to accept the fact that slavery did a number on us. And so we have to take time to heal. Imagine right now people are telling you reparation is not a subject that we should
Yeah.
even talk about, because that was the law at that time.
But
I mean,
surprisingly, it's black people that pushing this side. Some of them are black,
yeah, they're telling you, hey,
especially
support
black
reparation.
Republicans in
Yeah.
America.
Reparation is not something that we can even talk about. But they don't realize, they have not understood the damage that was done, and the legacy that we are dealing with, and how difficult it is for us to actually free ourselves from that. But if we take some time and then we begin to look at it and we say we have been damaged, so we can put something in place, so to deal with the pain that we have gone through. But this is not the thing happening, and so we tend to take it out on each other. You are the cause of my failures. You are the cause of me not being able to access certain things. Because you are there, that's why I have too many mouths to feed, and I have to get rid of you. In a sense, they're supporting a situation where the people who are saying that there are too many useless black people on the planet, some you can get rid of them, and they're actually going along with it, not consciously, but in a way that's what they're saying.
But the surprising thing is, we have the leaders, the people that lead us. Let's just say the ministers of government. One of the American philosophers, the black guy, one of them, I forgot his name. He has this concept of the talented tenth, like the people at the top.
Yeah.
You have that idea that the people at the top. Yeah, I will call you back. Yeah. I'm on a live show there. Yeah. So the ministers of government, to me, they are what I consider the talented tenth. You're supposed to have a certain level of common sense and understanding to emerge as a leader of the people. So to me, the leaders, these ministers of government, are the ones who are supposed to, in their efforts, break that cycle of the self-hatred that is going on. The idea of breaking somebody's lights for yours to shine. I do not expect that to be found among ministers. But the ministers of government, of successive government in this country, were very pivotal in perpetuating that kind of discrimination and fight down of people. What's going on is you have situations where you apply for certain jobs and you qualify for the jobs, and the minister that is responsible will ensure that you do not get it. There was a time, there's a job that I applied for. I'm a soil scientist. They needed somebody to test the labs at Union, the soils at Union in a lab. There's a lab there. And just because of my political affiliation, the people actually called people from the valley to find out which party I was supporting. Yeah. When they found out that this man is supporting Brother Kenny, they make sure that I didn't get that job. Then what they did afterwards, they gave the job to a Cuban lady. And the lady didn't stay much in the job. She left the job. St. Lucians like myself prevented me from getting a job, and I know how to do that work. And imagine when I was in America, I was in school. I was doing that. I was even testing soils from other states, water from other states. That's easy for me because that's what I learned. But in your own country, when you come there, the minister of government and the PS call people from the Dennery Valley to ask them which party I'm supporting. Invariably, they told them at that time I was supporting Brother Kenny, and I did not get the job. I could not get a job in St. Lucia in the Ministry of Agriculture because of these guys. So you can see the talented tenth that we have, the people are supposed to know better. They are the ones that are more eager to break your lights for them to shine. These people are obstacles. Some of these ministers of government, it's almost like you're dropping a lion among people. These fellows are detrimental to the growth of the country. They will fight people. Once you support in a different party, you're not supposed to eat in the country. And even bring it down to the lower class people, the average person on the ground. You will have a shop. They will have the things that you will need. They will come to your place to get credit, and then they will not pay. They will go to another place and buy it. Et que va juste fâcher pour your papier. So this is there is a lot of endemic problems and attitudes that we have that we need to get with. Now, a while ago you said it's a legacy from slavery. The way I look at it, yeah, it is a legacy from slavery. They need to get off that thing fast. Because the thing is, you have to get rid of those things from your mind, especially if you know better. You understand? We have to clean our own minds and our own self. I will not let the legacy of slavery affect me the way I deal with the brethren. If the brethren deal with me, if you come on me wrong, I will deal with you in a certain way. But I will not prevent a man or a woman from making progress just because I did not from my party.
They don't share the same,
sense of. Just because I believe they will have more thing than me, so let me prevent them. I'm happy for every St. Lucian who's doing well.
If the society develops, it is for the benefit of everyone. So the crisis that I see, among us, through the 10, how we call them,
the talented 10,
the talented 10. They have, they have something to do with it. They may have something to do with it. But what I'm talking about is I'm talking about the society as a whole. It's a crisis of leadership. Do we have the sense of leadership that would be able to interact with the people in such a way that would be able to educate the people?
But the leadership is the problem.
Right, you know what I mean? So we need to be able to share, to interact in a way that we can create a sense of vision in terms of where we are going, where we want to go, or what we want to see among ourselves as a people. And so if you don't engage, the masses, from, let's say, from the school level, to cultivate that kind of vision, and a sense of history in them, where they appreciate themselves, it would be very difficult for us to get rid of the kind of mentality that we have, because it is destructive. It is easier to be destructive to yourself actually than to look at yourself and say, okay, I think I am worth it, and I have a contribution to make, and I need space to make that contribution, and nobody can stop me. So it's a bit complicated, but I believe it is doable. It is doable. So how do we do it? How do we go about it? If the talented 10 are aware, and they have come to the level of consciousness where we can they can rally the troops and take and give the leadership that is required to change the situation, then that's can be done. But if you have a misguided 10, my friend, it is very, very difficult for us to move forward.
Because the thing is, we ourselves that get destroyed by these leaders, we're supposed to be more careful in this election, or some of these people that present themselves to be the candidates. Because some of these people that are presenting themselves are very vicious people who hold grudges and bear grudges. These are people who are very, it's almost like very petty in their approach and the way they deal. And we need to be able to see through those people early. You understand? We need to see through these people early, because some of these people are coming here and they prevent people from surviving in the society. There's a man that told me one time, I will not say where he's from. The man was, apparently his party was not in power. And, he's a builder. He built things, culverts and things like that. So he used to go to the Ministry of Communications and Works. They have another name for it now. And ask for jobs. So the chief engineer would give him certain works to do, certain things that they have to do. And so right now, I think the person who was the district rep would actually call the people and try to prevent him from getting jobs. And then it's a man, a grown man who can be your father.
Mhm.
Then he sees the man on the road and tell him, "Moki met bonda, upakain pesto avaisia."
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, when you get a man who's supposed to be a minister of government addressing an ordinary man who wants to
Right.
survive,
It can be an elder.
yeah,
Mhm.
an elder man is supposed to be respected. What do you want that person to do?
Mhm.
You know, what do you really want him to do?
Mhm.
Because this is why sometimes we have some of these crimes in society.
Mhm.
Because you have people that are frustrating people. People want to make progress in life. Sometimes the people are already under pressure, and you make it your business to try to block them
Make
from
sure.
getting something.
Mhm.
People have listen to me. I do not talk. I do not complain. People have fought against me a lot in this country, blocked me
Mhm.
in this country a lot.
Mhm. Mhm.
You understand? And I never talk about party and politics on my channel. I never do that.
Mhm.
You understand? But there was a time when UWP was in power and I could not get a job in St. Lucia.
Mhm.
No matter how much I apply, I could not get a job when UWP was in power.
Mhm.
You understand?
Mhm.
And I never really talk about those things because I know at the end of the day, these fellas cannot stop me from making progress in life. You may block me for 5 years, you may block me for 10 years, but at the end of the day, I have the resilience to wait.
Mhm.
You understand? I have the resilience to wait. These fellas will block people. And if it is that you at the top will block people and prevent people from making progress,
What do you expect?
how do you expect the people at the bottom to be? You
Mhm.
understand?
Mhm.
Because when you look at it, when you look at the political thing going on there, let's just say I'm a strong Labour Party supporter.
Mhm.
I was supporting Brother Kenny. And you all know that. You all call people from the community for me not to get a job. I'm a soil scientist. I'm a capable and competent one too.
Mhm.
I cannot get a job in my own country. Let's say I'm a strong party guy. When let's just say when my party comes in power, if I'm somebody who thinks just like everybody else, I will make sure that we do not give you a job, or your child or your dog or whatever do not get a job. You understand? And this is why you get some of this victimization thing taking place. Because you'll squeeze people when you're in power. So when the other party come on top, they make sure that you, your dog, your children, your great-grandchildren, none of you all don't get a job in the country because of what you all did. Now they stop me. They try to block me from eating and all of that. I never bear grudges, and I never spoke about that. This is the first time I really directly spoke about that. You understand? Year after year, these guys were blocking me from getting a job in the Ministry of Agriculture, and I know who the people that were doing it. And these are the same people that crying wolf and complaining when the other party do the same
Yes.
thing to them.
So this is why we have this kind of party division in St. Lucia. We have a lot of you can see the tension is always there. And people tend to we cannot even see beyond
Yeah.
beyond ourselves.
Mhm.
To know that we are a community of people of African descent, and what we instead of pulling people together, instead of knowing that we have a task ahead of us to develop the country and to have our to build our country, what we do is that we see things purely from a partisan perspective, and so it's our job is to oppose everything. If it doesn't come from us, or if it does fit, it doesn't fit into our party narrative, and this is what is, and it has really kept us back as a nation, and it continues to keep ourselves back because we don't see ourselves as African people who have been wrong over years. And so it is time that we take, responsibility for our own healing, and come up with solutions that will help us to heal ourselves.
There was one night I was thinking, and I said to myself, I was thinking to myself, that it may be necessary on a national level
Mm-hmm.
to go through to have psychologists
Mm-hmm.
and psychiatrists
Mhm.
work with like a whole nation,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
from the school level going
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
even
yeah,
at the
yeah,
work
yeah,
level.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
thinking about that because some of the problems, some of the things that you encounter, you can see definitely these are very deep rooted
Oh
problems.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah,
And
oh yeah.
sometimes they need the intervention of psychiatry
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Psychiatry, psychologists,
Mhm.
on a national level to deal with those people
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
the things that are happening.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the thing is, what happened is, in the case of like somebody like me, I think that I'm a very strong person.
Mhm,
How like I've stayed in this country
mhm,
for many years, I couldn't get a job and I had to survive.
mhm,
You understand?
mhm.
And I couldn't beg nobody. I just
Right,
had to squeeze and suffer. But
right,
thing, knowing that I can get a job and it is available, and there are certain guys that are deliberately blocking me.
right,
But not everybody has the mental fortitude to go through that.
right, right,
Not
right,
anybody can go through that
right, right.
because some people are very strong. Some people
Mhm.
can tolerate. It's almost like you put them in a desert and they can survive.
Right, right,
But
right.
not everybody has the
As a
mental
mental.
strength to deliver that.
Mhm,
And as we say, even on the local level, the grassroots level,
mhm,
when I was teaching the children in secondary school, one of the programs that I did by myself,
mhm.
even though I was teaching them science and maths, I would ask. There was a day in the week where every child had to bring a newspaper.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to bring a newspaper,
Uh-huh.
and I know I don't have time to go through everybody, but I would randomly choose 5 people,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you have to tell me what you read in that
What?
newspaper
That's right.
and
Yeah.
explain certain things to me.
Mhm,
The problem I was getting is that I was a very strict guy.
mhm,
Some of the students would not come with the newspaper,
mhm,
or they'll come in for a stale newspaper, and I say I want a new one.
mhm,
And sometimes the parents would call me
mhm.
and tell me that they did not have money to buy a newspaper
Right,
for the
right.
child and things like that, which I would understand.
Right, right.
But every child in the country had to buy, in my class,
Mhm.
had to buy a star newspaper or voice newspaper.
Right, right, right.
We have a situation because some of the things that you will read in the newspaper, you will not hear that on the
Yeah,
on
right.
news.
Yeah, yeah. In the community.
Yeah, you will not hear it.
Mhm.
And there are certain things that the child need to read.
Yeah, yeah,
It affects your mind. It
Yeah.
improves your thinking when you read.
That's right. That's right.
And right now we have a situation where the newspapers are not selling in the country. That's not
Yeah.
supposed to happen.
That's right. That's right.
Every weekend, every child is supposed to be reading
Yeah,
a newspaper.
in fact, their family should have
Yeah.
at least the newspaper to look through this. I buy one every
Yeah.
weekend.
So
Yeah.
the problem that we're discussing there, in terms of the antagonism in the community, that can change in a way if we
Yeah.
have these children reading newspapers
Right,
early,
right, right.
because the child will be able to see. But look, in this country, look, there's that guy who's 20 years and he's already a multi-millionaire.
Right, right, right.
This boy, this is a 15-year-old boy, and he's already he has a company. He's already writing programs.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, this is a 10-year-old boy, a 10-year-old child, and he was able to hack into a major bank computer network.
Mm.
They will see those things, and they will not be limited by the pettiness that is going on
Right.
underground.
Because there's
But-
no discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the parents are more interested in buying phones and things like that as
Yeah.
opposed to buying newspapers
And
for your children to
they're
read.
using the excuse that people don't read.
Yeah,
If you don't, encourage it, it will not happen.
Mhm.
But if a child is growing up, the child, you expose the child to books,
Mhm.
the child will read.
Mhm.
What I used to do, I have lots of books, as you know, and my children wouldn't, they, when I read my history books and so on, they wouldn't be
Mhm.
reading it. They would be think.
Mhm.
But we would do, we would put off the television over for 6 months, especially in the summertime.
Mhm.
We just disconnect cable and everything.
Mhm.
And when I read I would leave the books all over the place.
Mhm.
you know. But at least did I know that they would read it.
Yeah,
They would
yeah.
read,
Yeah.
because I just leave it all over the place. And because certain things that they would tell me, at one point, one of my sons told me that it says, Dad, I was in school, I was in school today, and I said, what happened? He says, the teacher was talking about Egypt.
Mhm.
And I said, yeah. He says, well, yeah, all your Egyptian history seems to be paying off.
Mhm.
I said, how you mean? He says, well, the teacher was talking about Egypt today, and she did not. She was not saying the right thing, and I had to correct her. I told him that you have to be very careful when you don't correct the teacher in the way that Anyway, you have to be careful when you correct your teacher. You know? But you should see that he was reading even while I didn't observe or suspect that anything was going on. But it is important that people actually encourage the children to read, to find out what is going on, and even the parents themselves, they have to know of current affairs, see what's happening, what is going on with BRICS, what's going on with with the American de-dollarization, what's going on in your community. You have to know the basic things in your community, so that you can share with others. And if we do that, we'll be less likely to be getting out, keeping each other down. And one other thing I want to say with respect to even the resource centers that we have, nothing is happening in the resource center. Now, absolutely nothing, not even a discussion. And it's supposed to be there for that. And we saw, we're seeing all the young people around, and I mean, something should be going on where people will discuss our situations, our problems, how we can better our communities. But these things are not happening.
One of the things too is we need to spend money. If we spend money on the human resource in a good way, we can avoid. People will be so confident in themselves and competent that there'll be no need to fight against each other like that.
Right. That's right.
We had some months ago, or probably a year ago, there was a talk in St. Lucia about coding. Well, I think the Taiwanese government was trying to get, there was some funding or whatever to get young people into coding.
All right.
These are things that are important to have. We need to have people into all different venues and things like sports, coding and all different things like that. We have too many lost people. And sometimes what happens is we have a situation to where when people are not doing well in our perception of doing well in the school system, we just let them go astray. And they are very smart people who didn't do well in school, but they're very intelligent. Because the school system was too boring for them, and they were not interested in that. Look at sometimes some of the guys we have who probably commit gun crimes or involved in drugs. When you listen to the fellas, when you talk to them, these are some of the smartest fellas you'll come across. You cannot survive in the drug business if you're not very smart. If you cannot survive in them kind of way if you're not very smart. And so what happened is, with the system that we have, the educational system that they give us, which is not ours, we're losing some of our people and they're going in the wrong way.
That's right.
You understand? And so we need to even change, because we need to do a realignment from the foundation, from the 10 people are small. You go to school and they tell you about Sir Francis Drake and Prince Henry the Navigator and them kind of thing. It's almost like they're bigging up them fellas. We never really learn any great African leader, nothing like that. As I became a man, I get to know about the city of Timbuktu and all of them, and the fact that they had a thriving civilization way before the Europeans.
But Ethiopia, the whole of Africa.
If you grow up without knowing that, you become inferior in a way when you think that you go to school with white people and the whole system
was created by them, and is their civilization that you only you only part of this, become part of the civilization because they taught you what see what we can do, and you never did anything. So therefore you have a different mindset. You are an inferiority complex. That's what you're faced with.
So we have to fix that up from the time the person is small.
Right.
Why China and Singapore and them fellas doing well? Because the children are programmed from the time the little child growing up.
They have the self-confidence. They are not afraid. They are not But when I went to school, maybe it was a little bit different for you. But when I went to school, we were not allowed, to speak Creole in the school. We are not allowed. We were beaten, and it was very, 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 very scary going to school every day. And if you're going to school and you're scared, how will you live? That kind of thing. You have to be on, and that is a direct practice from slavery. It's a
Mhm.
direct practice where you discipline the,
Mm.
not only discipline, you beat up the slaves to
Mm.
the point where they where they can be unconscious.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I mean, we take that, because you want them to be in line
Mhm.
with your narrative, with
Mhm.
your thinking, with
Mhm.
what you give them, and nothing else.
Mhm.
And we the same thing was passed on to us, even by our own people when we go to the school. Our own teachers, didn't spread the rod and didn't take
Uh,
anything to spread the rod. They actually, give it to us, and so we were in fear,
mhm.
you know, and even today we find ourselves in that kind of situation. We have not recovered,
Mhm.
and so we have to make an effort to recover from that legacy, from
Mhm.
that pain. We have to make an effort, and it depends on the 10 that you're talking about,
Mhm.
the selected 10 or
The
whatever,
talented.
the talented 10,
Uh,
to have the level of consciousness, to see there's a problem in the society that is influenced by this
mm.
legacy, and that's the way we address things like crime, the crime that they're talking about, they're making so much about.
Mm.
It is very threatening, the crime. I'm not taking it lightly,
Mm.
but I'm saying the approach where you have to use maximum force. That
Mm.
you have to use maximum force, but you have to find a way to isolate that kind of behavior,
Mm.
right? And then you have to work on the ones coming up, so that you don't become a pipeline,
Mhm. Mhm.
that would be supplying
Mhm.
this set of people with new recruits.
Mm.
What you want to do is to ensure that when you isolate these people, you use the force necessary to calm them down.
Mhm.
The next set of people would be looking at the whole situation with a different mindset.
Mhm.
They know how to negotiate a conflict. They know how to resolve conflict.
Mhm.
You have mediation in the school. You
Mm.
have conflict resolution programs. That you can start very early
Mm.
among your people. But for one reason or the other, we don't see that. We don't
Mhm.
we don't approach it that way. And
Mm.
anyway.
So basically, what I think we need to do is, even at our level, whatever we can do, allow people that are making progress to make progress.
Mhm,
You understand?
mhm,
If somebody's light is shining better than me, I'm not supposed to break the person light just
mhm,
because I want mine to
mhm,
shine.
mhm, mhm.
And if it is that somebody is doing well, it is okay. Let people do well.
Because the society benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole
If
society benefits.
everybody benefit,
Mm,
and even among the family, there is this competition.
yeah.
If you doing well,
Mm,
my sister is doing well,
mm.
all of you are doing well. It is easier for me in life.
Yeah, exactly.
If I find myself in a crisis, my
Yeah.
sister doing well, I can just say, you know what, I'm in a problem there.
Right, right.
And she will just send some money for me.
Yeah, yeah.
You can give me some
Yeah,
money and
yeah,
my
yeah,
problem fixed.
yeah.
But if it is that all of you all in the
Poor.
same
Yeah.
situation, none of us in
We
rising,
can help each
we
other.
can help each other.
That's right.
The same way in the community.
That's right.
If you have a business,
Mhm,
I support your business.
mhm.
Say like you eventually, or most times, people will probably expand on the house or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
The business will get overpowering. You will need to employ more people.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes is my sister child, my child,
Mhm.
my neighbor's child, some other child.
Right.
You will employ to work with you.
Mhm,
So it does not affect you one
mhm.
bit to see the other person rise.
Yeah, right.
You understand? At the community level, at the government level,
Mhm.
in the
At the
ministry
state
level,
level, yeah, at the
it does
national
not
level.
affect you when
It,
other people rise in.
it makes you better. It
Yeah,
advances your fortune.
all of
Yeah.
us get better
Yeah.
when things get better. This person has a factory, your family can work there.
Mhm.
Your niece can work there.
Mhm.
Your nephew can work there.
Mhm, mhm.
Everybody is better off when
Mhm.
when the community is doing better, when people are doing
But
better.
in a way, they prefer a foreign person to come in,
Mm-hmm.
and usually not a black person.
Mm-hmm.
The person comes in, the
Mm-hmm.
person open up a factory,
Mm-hmm.
exploit the hell out of them,
Yeah.
and then take their money and pull it back to their own country, to their own communities, and pay their health care and their and their pension and so on, and they are left when they get older, and I see that happening right here in St. Lucia right now, where you have a number, farmers who spend their whole life in bananas, and right now they have nothing to fall on. This is, this is how you compound poverty, and you sustain it, from one generation to the next, because they have nothing right now. They don't have a pension, nothing. They have to be supported by their children, by their family. This is left to the family, to the community as a whole, and the community doesn't realize that. Doesn't realize it. They have to be supported in one way or the by community. When they call the ambulance, who you think that pay for the ambulance for them? It's the community. The money you have, the little money you have to buy food or whatever. That's what if they are paying VAT or whatever. That's the kind of money that goes into these things. So if the community improves and the community can sustain itself and support itself, it's better for all of us. This is the situation, and we have to understand these things. I wish there was a place that we can discuss these things, where the community can be around and they can understand, they can participate in that kind of discussion. Another thing that is happening in our community again is that you have a lot of young people, a lot, especially boys, not too young boys, but people who have grown to the community, and they are mentally in a way that they are depressed and they have nothing to do, and day after day you see them waking up, and doing the very same thing. They are just around, not contributing anything to the economy, to the development of themselves, to the development of the community. Now, if you have just two people in the community can take care of that. But when you have so many, you go to Denny River, you have so many. You go to Grand Ravine, you have so many. You go to Belmont, there are so many. You go to Grand Riviere, there are so many. People who are just a burden, and you hate to say a burden to the community, but that's what they are. The survival of these people is, some people look at them and say, okay, they are just rejects, and hey, they are on drugs or whatever, but the cost to the community, is very, very telling, because these people, they are not contributing. So which means that they have the next generation, they are making no preparation to help the next generation in no way at all, and the next generation is the one that's supporting them up to when. So you're compounding the legacy of poverty. You're continuing sustaining a sense of poverty that we can get away from. So when you see these people, they are we don't just look at it and say, well, if they go to hospital, take them to hospital, or take them there, they are a nuisance and that kind of thing. It is affecting our own development, and we have to do.
But this thing you're talking about there, these are things that we're passionate about, and we can handle, we can deal with. In America, England, and these places, you might be interested in that, and you might get the funding for it. Even if you do not get the funding from government, the local people will fund you.
Right.
In St. Lucia, no matter how much, say like you want to do something that makes sense. You want to start some little something to help people.
Breakfast,
people who have mental problems, young people in the area, to help them. You say, okay, give me some help to do that. One guy, that's the automatically, that's the mentality that come to it. This is that's what you will hear. You understand? And so what happened is, we ourselves need to fund these little programs that will help to develop the place, because there are certain things that I want to do, even to hold lectures or to bring people like you to teach people about certain things, especially young boys, to hold lectures about business, how to do different things, how to get certain things done. But there are certain things that you need to put in place for that to be done. Now you ask for, okay, people, this is my channel, contribute financially to help me build this thing. Allah se buk sa avle. Ou gatan misi an le YouTube, ou pa misi an le YouTube kamade moun, toujou kamade moun pou l'argent. That is the mentality they have. So even the same crab in barrel mentality is affecting the everything.
Everybody,
But at the same time, we have to start from somewhere, and we cannot let this negativity prevent us from doing what we have to do. Because in everything, there will be even a chosen few that will be willing to see things go forward.
I can see in this community, especially the Mabuya Valley community, a number of things that can be done. You can take care of things, that will not take any amount of, a large funds or anything like that. What it needs is recognizing the problem and understanding the impact of that problem in the development of the community. Because you see, young people going to school, for example. I mean, young students, small children going to school, seeing a group of people just laying down by the street, no breakfast, they are mentally disturbed, walking up and down, and things like that. It has an impact on them, People don't want, it doesn't, they don't feel enlightened and motivated. They go to school in a way, I see this fella, it could be the next door neighbor. I mean, he's behaving in a certain way and that kind of thing, and these are the kind of thing, the image in their minds. And so it affects their learning, their ability to learn, and people don't want to, they don't see it that way, they don't understand it that way. And so they just say, "Oh, this is a loser," that kind of thing. But this is your setting up, your own downfall in the very near future. That's what's happening.
So, in closing, we just want you to give the people some pointers as to what we can do as a people to kind of stop that antagonism, and that resentment towards people making progress in the society.
What I will say is that, okay, we have to learn about ourselves. We have to learn about our history. Because if we learn about our history, we know that we have been a great people. And we can continue. I mean, there are many people in the community who are also very creative, like you. You're very creative, and who have something to contribute. So we don't dismiss these people and see them as, as I don't want them to move ahead and go. So if they go ahead, they will be, if they develop and express their creativity, it is a setback for me. You have to see it in terms of the community as a whole. We have to support each other in every way that we can possibly can. If it's not because somebody has something and they have a shop and things like that, you're not buying from them because you don't want them. They will be rich on your. In the first place, somebody can never be rich from a purpose. I mean, you can't spend it. No, I mean, it's you're poor. You're just average. Somebody can never be rich. So the other thing I'm going to say is that collectively we can do much better. We can move mountains. Rather than behaving towards each other in an antagonistic way, and thinking that by that person not being able to rise, then it elevates us, as it brings us to it. It just does not happen. Think in terms of the community, and each individual has a stake in the community for its advancement. Without it's like the Ubuntu's principle, where you are you because I am because you are. Otherwise, it is not you. We cannot make progress, and I think we have to realize that and take steps to ensure that we participate and take a positive view of life, basically.
All right, keep the fire burning. Join us again, because in around 20 minutes or 15 minutes, we have another live again.
Okay.
So keep the fire burning.
All right.